You're listening to the OMG Hour.
You gotta love that new opening. Come on.
I do like. Now, here's the thing. I know like everybody else can hear it, but I can't hear the explosion
That's okay.
on my side. So I just imagine like it exploding, and then for some reason in my head, I heard like a chicken clucking. It's like
No chicken. There's
which I think we should add that.
okay. Next time.
Let's add a chicken cluck.
Welcome to the OMG Hour, episode number 331. We are your oppressively magnified Grandstanders, and I am Sean Evans, otherwise known as Zion Tane.
And I am Tico, Mr. Second Place. And I would like to say that you did a very nice job on our new setup.
Thank you.
It looks
really
nice.
I had a idea this week that I needed to redesign the whole show, and for those audio listeners, I basically put together a whole new opening with an explosion, and it was just, I had fun doing it. It's been 3 years, Tico, that we've had the same layout.
And this looks, I don't know, it looks cool. It looks, I don't know, like we're in some sort of space-aged video chat or something like that.
Well, we are living in the future.
That is true.
With all the video games and the internets and the YouTubes and all that stuff.
I take no credit for any of this stuff. Sean did this entire thing.
Tico just approved it all.
I approved it. I mean, I had to sign off on everything, of course.
Of course, yes. Very important to get Tico's sign off.
Listen. I was very impressed based off of like when you said, "Hey, I have an idea for something I want to try." To actual fruition was a very short amount of time. So I'm very impressed with how quickly and elegantly this came together.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to bring up the chat. So let's see if I can do it this week. Because last week we couldn't get it, but looks like it's there. So hopefully we get some people to talk to this week. We'll see. We're recording a day early.
Yeah, we're a day early because somebody had to, have got married 25 years ago and did not think forwardly enough.
Apparently. So, on that note, there will be no show next week because 2 days from today, the recording day, I will be leaving for my 25th anniversary vacation. My wife and I are heading out, leaving the kids at home because, they're all old enough to take care of themselves. All old enough to get out of the house and take care of themselves.
What is it? They should all be old enough to take care of themselves.
Yes, exactly.
We'll see if your insurance premiums are paid up when you get back.
See if the house is still standing.
Yep.
Welcome to the show, Brian. Yes, Brian, we tricked you yet again, but I'm leaving for vacation, so we're recording early. But here we are, Thursday night. It is June 20th. I almost said 21st because that's when we were supposed to record.
Yes,
but anyway,
it is June 20th.
I've got the. No, I don't. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm confused because it's Thursday.
It's Thursday.
Let's talk about games.
Okay, let's do it.
So, was it last week or the week before that episode 2 for Fate of Atlantis came out?
I think it was the week before.
It could be, yeah, like the week before E3.
Yeah.
I can't believe E3 was last week already. Like, wow.
I know.
Coming up on 2 weeks ago. So I jumped into Fate of Atlantis, episode 2, which is The Torment of Hades. Now, you and I both enjoyed our time in Elysium, which was episode 1. And I've played, I don't know, a couple of hours of chapter 2, episode 2. And I'm not as enthralled with it as I was the first one, mostly because it's really dull and dreary. I mean, you're in Hades. You're in hell, essentially.
Yeah, you are. Right? You are in hell. It is dark. Playing through it, it really reminds me of the Shadow of Mordor, like that type of darkness.
It is
over the whole thing.
And there are times when it gets like super dark, like foggy almost, right?
Yeah.
Where you can't see 10 feet in front of you.
It's very grayscale. It's not like dark and vibrant. Like, I don't know, it's a weird way to say that, but like it's not like dark, but things are still like really sharp, and it just feels everything sort of got that
you're
covered in dust feel.
That's it. Yeah, dark, dirty, dreary. Yeah. It's like all, clay and rock and sandstorms and And I don't know. I'm finding the story in Fate of Atlantis uninspiring because when you really think about it, the Fate of Atlantis is not telling Cassandra or Alexios' story. It's essentially a virtual world created by Alethea, the ESO, in order to teach Layla in the future how to use the staff.
Yeah.
And so what's happening, for one, I don't even think it's real from Cassandra's point of view. It's a virtual world that was created by the ESO. So she's not actually in hell or in Hades. So the whole concept of it is like, what's actually happening? I don't get it.
And it takes away from your feeling of connection to the character, that their decisions are, right and wrong matter, because it's no longer these characters. It's not Alexios or Cassandra's characters' decisions, and it doesn't have any bearing on their lives or anything like that. Whereas when you're playing the regular game, you're like, well, listen, I'm not a jerk. I'm not going to kick that chicken. And you feel that's important to not kick that chicken in the regular game. Whereas here, it's like, I'm just going to kill everybody and whatever. It doesn't really matter. I'm just running through the motions.
Because ultimately what happens here does not affect Greece.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? It has no bearing on the main Greece world or any of the still upcoming story missions that are going to happen there.
I mean, except for the fact that you get to take some of your newly learned skills with you, and there are some cool weapons. You get a few cool weapons of the gods that you manage to collect. I have now finished the entire thing.
I'm just having a difficult time going back to it because it's just, I don't know. I feel like, why am I doing this?
I had a lot of trouble with the first fight with Cerberus. I had so much trouble with that, and I tried it like 10 times and died. I'm like thinking like, okay, I'm not actually going to get through this piece of DLC because I can't beat this first part. And
I thought the same thing, and that, for those of you who haven't played, the DLC starts with this huge boss battle. It starts. There is nothing before that. You have to start with a boss battle, and if you die during this, and it was not an easy boss battle, even on easy. Right?
Yeah, no, it was not, and there's no, it's not even like I can say, hey, there's a bunch of strategy you can use with this. Like, it's a slow burn on this battle too. It's not like, hey, do enough of this type of damage. Like if you shoot him from far away, you're going to take out a bunch of health. No, it's like it's tick, 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 tick. Like the very first time I did it, I got him to like a sliver away before I died. And it was I felt so disappointed. Then the next time I tried through it, like not even halfway, and then died. And then
I got just under half the first time, and then I tried doing something differently, and I didn't even get to half. And I'm like, this is stupid. It was late at night, so I just gave up. And then thinking about it the next day, I'm like, well, I've got the Amazon armor, which heals me every time I do a successful hit, but it's a melee hit. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back in. I'm going to get right up close to Cerberus, and I'm never going to leave his side. I'm just going to, when he jumps to attack, I'm just going to dodge his attacks because he throws fireballs at you if you're too far away. Yeah. And that's the problem. You end up being lit on fire a lot, right? And then that takes away health. So I stayed right up close to him. I just kept hammering away at him, using my ultimates when I built up adrenaline or whatever it's called. And then I dodged his attacks. And of course, every time I hit him, I would just heal anyway. And that worked. I mean, it was still a fairly long battle, but that strategy worked for me.
And I actually did the same thing. I went in and spent some of my skill points in the mastery section for a similar thing, health on damage.
Right.
And did the same thing in order to finally beat him as well. But it was a long battle. But once, and I think that's also part of the problem with the DLC is that's such a high octane starting point, and everything from it feels like on a downhill slope.
But it also takes away from the heart of what Assassin's Creed is.
Yeah.
To start a DLC like that with a full-on boss battle.
Yeah, and I will say this, this is a minor spoiler, so plug your ears, anybody who doesn't want to. So when you defeat him, he turns back into a regular dog.
Well, because that's how he started.
Because it's how he started, but it just made me feel crappy.
Because you killed the dog.
Because honestly, I'm a dog lover. I felt like that little
That was
part where
it was Persephone's dog.
yeah, and
right?
I felt bad, and you're not given a choice. It's not like
No.
it's a moral choice where you like attack him or not attack him. Like it's part of the built-in story, so you have to do it. I felt bad about that immediately after. I felt nothing. You
didn't.
have to go and take out
I'm not a
many
dog person.
You have to take out many of the the Greek gods and Greek heroes in this DLC as well, and I felt nothing for attacking all of those guys. No problem.
How about the Hell Dogs? Do you feel bad about the Hell Dogs?
No, they are glowy.
Right. With red eyes. Yeah, exactly.
Although oddly enough, they look a lot more like my current puppy than.
All right, let's move on. I jumped back into Elder Scrolls Online. So Elder Scrolls Online Elsweyr just released. This is their new add-on to, of course, ESO is an online MMO.
Yep.
In the Elder Scrolls world. And I had forgotten, Tico, kind of like, first of all, the game looks beautiful because they've added 4K graphics to it. So I have the option of turning 4K on and off. And when it first started, when I booted it up, I'm switching between 4K and 1080, and I'm like, wow, there's a difference. Like it changes immediately, so you can kind of see what the difference is between them. And wow, was there ever a difference between 4K and not? So I'm surprised that an MMO is actually doing 4K graphics, because MMOs typically are, it has to render the world kind of in real time, so it's not usually as rendered as a game.
Take something away from it in order to preserve some of the fidelity, and
right.
It looks good. Now you have the Elsweyr DLC.
Yes,
is this
so
something
this is Elsweyr
purchased?
this is Elsweyr. So Bethesda actually gave me a review copy of Elsweyr. Which is nice too, because you don't have to build up your character before going to Elsweyr. You can start in Elsweyr. So you don't have to worry about, this is like the 4th DLC. They've had Morrowind, they've had a bunch of others, and now there's Elsweyr, which is the Khajiit Island, right? This is where the Khajiit race is from. You can actually start a brand new character in Elsweyr, and it starts the whole story. And from what's awesome about Elsweyr, this story is they're bringing dragons into the game. So right off the bat, you're pitted against a dragon. Right? And it's like, okay, this is awesome. Because who doesn't like bringing down dragons in Skyrim? Right?
I mean, that's one of the best parts of the franchise.
Exactly. So now they've brought dragons back, and it's the whole story is that the dragons are invading Elsweyr, and you have to try to find a way to defeat them. I guess so this is awesome. So now we've got dragons in ESO, and I'm sure later on you're going to be able to get together with friends and defeat these huge big dragons, but the story is trying to figure out why the dragons have returned. But what I really, like I said, what I enjoyed about it was that I didn't have to take my old character and build it up to a certain level before entering Elsweyr, because in the past, many MMOs would do that. They'd add a new land and new missions, but it would be like level 80. Right? So you can't even get there unless you have a level 80 or whatever character. This is not like that, which is great. You can go straight
I think
there.
a lot of these MMOs have started doing that, allowing you to create a new character starting in that new land, because they want people to be able to experience that right away.
Exactly.
I have this, but I do not have Elsweyr. I have the base game, but I still have not. I haven't finished I haven't gotten more than 2 or 3 quests into the game.
Well, I remember, I haven't played the game for like 2 years, so I jumped back in. I created a brand new character for this. I tried pulling up my old character. I have a level, it's not super high, it's like level 15 character from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I jumped back in, and I've gone back into Guild Wars 2 many times, and as soon as it boots up, I'm like, okay, I know where I am, I know what I'm doing, I jump right back in. With ESO, I pulled up my level, my Trainala character, level 15. I'm like, where am I? I don't even recognize this place. What was I doing? Yeah. And not only that, but in that time, they've reset all my skills, so I have to essentially build her up again. I have to spend the skill points, and I'm like, I don't remember what I was doing.
Yeah,
I don't.
what
it's
build
like,
you went with? Yeah.
I know, and so I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to create a brand new character and start from scratch, and that's what I did. Jumped into Elsweyr. They've added a new class, so now you can be a necromancer, which
I
I
like the
loved.
necromancer.
Being,
is that only with the Elsweyr DLC, or is that if you starting?
I believe so. I believe the new class comes with the Elsweyr DLC.
Okay, because that's what I want to do, but I don't have Elsweyr, and I would really need to get back into the game a little bit before deciding to spend some money on that.
Yeah. It's I loved being a necromancer in EverQuest 2 that I played for years. My most powerful character in EverQuest was a necromancer. And so I'm like, okay, cool, necromancer. And I believe I played a necromancer type build in the original Guild Wars. So I do like necromancers in online games. And the difference, though, which is cool, because, of course, Elder Scrolls has a thing about, you can do crimes in cities, right? And you can be arrested and you can, get attacked. If there are certain skills a necromancer can do that is considered a crime, like raising the dead, for example. If you raise the dead in a town, it's considered crime, and
that's black magic, and they don't stand for that kind of malarkey.
Exactly. Nobody likes that malarkey.
That's, I think, the exact thing that the guards come running at you is like, stop that malarkey.
Malarkey, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm still not 100%. I don't know. I'm not 100% excited about Elder Scrolls Online. I do like that. And I don't remember it being like this before, but it had to have been. It's been 2 years since I played. But it is very much like playing Skyrim. As you do things, you build up all these skills. Like if I'm using a destructive, if I'm using a destructive staff, well, I'm building up my destruction magic. If I'm wearing light armor, I'm building up light armor abilities. And as you build up those skills, just like in the main Elder Scrolls games, as you build up those skills, you unlock abilities relating to them.
Yeah.
Right? And it's set up exactly the same way. And part of me is kind of, I don't know, confused at myself in like, how we're all, man, I just want Elder Scrolls 6. I want more Skyrim. It's right here. Like, this is it. This is more Skyrim. This is more Elder Scrolls right here. It's actually set up and plays very much like an Elder Scrolls game. The only difference is there are places and things in it that is going to be difficult to do by yourself. But it's not an impossible game to play by yourself.
No, and this is I believe a Game Pass title for the base game.
Is it really?
I believe it is.
Wow.
I could look it up if, but I'm pretty sure this is.
If you have Game Pass and you want if you're waiting for Elder Scrolls 6, play Elder Scrolls Online. It's great. And I believe it's free to play. Like there are memberships you can get, which gives you more stuff, but the game is free to play once you buy it, or if you have it on Game Pass. So anyway, that's Elder Scrolls Online. Elsweyr is available now, so it adds the whole Elsweyr island with the Khajiit. And I created a Necromancer, which is your new class.
Very cool. And I'm just looking this up here. It is the base copy of the game is available on
Game Pass.
On Game Pass, as well as you are correct, it is a free to play title. You can purchase the expansions. There are monthly things you can get. My brother-in-law actually has the monthly thing that he pays, and you get X number of gold and a whole bunch of stuff like that.
It unlocks things you don't normally get if you don't pay for the whatever they call it, ESO Plus, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And I looked at the price for ESO Plus. It's $20 a month, or $130 for the year, and I'm like, no, there's no way I'm paying $130 a year.
No, I mean, if this is the only game you're playing, then okay, yeah,
sure.
then maybe.
but it's not. And you
Yeah.
know, yes, if you are going to be 100% playing this game, sure. But you know, I learned my lesson years ago with EverQuest 2. I paid $15 a month to play that. Then
Yep.
I paid $15 a month to play Star Wars Online, you know, and then Lord of the Rings Online came, and I ended up paying, oh gosh,
200 bucks.
Thank you, $200 for a lifetime membership for a game that eventually went free to play.
Yep.
You know, luckily that membership privileges still continue. If I were playing, I would get bonus stuff,
But you're not.
But I'm not. So I have learned my lesson with MMOs. I don't
Yeah.
pay monthly fees for MMOs.
And I mean, even the top MMOs out there have gone into that free-to-play model now.
That's
World
right.
of Warcraft, which was one of the biggest ones, their numbers dwindled so much that they have now created a free-to-play model as well.
Exactly.
So just wait long enough, it'll be free-to-play, and you can get most of the stuff out of it. If you're really enjoying the game that much, then buy some gold or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, because you can purchase in-game stuff if there's something you want to buy in, like a decoration or, you know, adornments or whatever it is that you can buy, right? Or
Yeah.
like a new mount
Mounts.
or whatever,
Yeah.
right? So, okay, I understand you played the new the game that we teased Jeff years ago
Yes.
about, a Lego Forza game, actually
Yes.
now exists.
And that was announced at E3, and one of those available in a couple of days. So I did pick up the for Forza Horizon 4 Lego Speed Champions, and it brings you into a new area that is basically a Lego racing game. You can play with regular cars or Lego cars in there. You don't get a ton of Lego cars to start. I was a little disappointed. I figured I'd get a whole, you know, garage full of Lego cars, but you get one Lego car to start, and then.
Well, that's the same with any other game, like any other car in Forza, right? You have to buy them or earn them.
Yeah, I know, but I was just hoping to have more. But so what you do in these ones here, completing races and certain tasks, like finding certain things in the world or completing certain jumps, will earn you bricks. And when you hit a certain number of bricks, it'll unlock. The first thing you unlock is your house. And then,
Lego house.
That's a Lego house. It's basically your home base, and it builds up as you find things. So you basically get a plot of land to start as your Lego house. So there's no house there or anything yet. It's a plot of land, and then the next piece that you get is you unlock the Lego Lamborghini.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you get you're unlocking these things, and it'll tell you in little menus. So it's like, hey, you need to unlock 400 more Lego bricks to unlock this next piece.
Well, how many Lego bricks do you earn at a time?
So finishing a race gets you 20. Winning that same race gets you another 20.
Hey,
So
how come that wasn't Lego water?
because it's regular water. They've just thrown regular water in there. There are certain parts of the road that are Lego brick road, like you remember the big flat Lego road pieces.
Oh
that you
yeah,
could
yeah.
get?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so there's some areas of that, but most of it is regular road. It actually does when you're driving over the Lego road. It's actually bumpy.
Nice.
It's just fun. It is a fun.
Well, it's like last year's or 2 years
Hot
ago.
Wheels.
The Hot
Hot
Wheels, right?
Yeah.
It took you to a new island, which was totally made of Hot Wheels tracks,
Yes.
and it was incredible. And you rode Hot Wheels cars.
Yeah, and it's just a very fun piece of DLC. I've been hopping back into this a few times, just running through some races and just having fun with it. You can pop in your your regular cars too to drive around these things, but it's just not the same. I'm like, I did that for one race. I'm like, okay, you can do it, but
Why? Why?
But why?
Game Pass. Is the DLC on Game Pass?
No. The DLC is a separate piece. All the DLC, so the on Game Pass is the base game for Forza Horizons.
But I thought Microsoft stuff was all day and date to Game Pass.
Microsoft stuff this is DLC, so this is not considered a standalone. This is DLC. So DLC for these games is always the DLC price, or by the. So like for example, there's like 4 different versions of Forza Horizon 4. There's the base game, then there's the Ultimate, and then the Gold Edition that has the Seasons Pass and stuff like that. Those are the ones that will include Lego DLC, and I think there's like one other one that's already out.
Game Pass Ultimate is supposed to include all the Ultimate versions of games.
No. It is going to include the Ultimate versions of some games. Gears of War being one of the ones that they'd mentioned that it will include the Ultimate version of that, but not every single game will have the Ultimate version on there.
Okay.
I believe a lot of them will, and maybe Forza Horizon 5 would include that moving forward. But because this title had been previously released, it would be very hard for them to add that now and have people upset who had paid the extra money for the first DLC.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. So highly recommended, I'm assuming. It
is fun. It's a fun piece of DLC. If you like Forza, grab this.
Now it's Lego, and you earn bricks. Can you build stuff?
There's no actual building of stuff. There's no like, and those were the couple of things. And again, it's not in the game, and I was kind of hoping to see that. Like, you get out of the car, it's your regular character from the game. I was hoping that you'd have like a
Lego version of yourself,
a minifig version of yourself, and that you'd be able to get out and build some tracks and build like actually doing the building. But it's really just it's a lot of pre-built stuff. You don't actually get to do the building yourself.
All right.
It was a missed opportunity, I think.
Well, I mean, it's a Forza game. Let's be reminded. Yeah. This isn't a Lego game. This is a Forza game.
Correct.
Right? Teaming up with Lego to create DLC. So it isn't a Lego game. So that's why stuff like that wouldn't be there. Which makes sense.
Yeah. I also played, and this is a while ago at this point.
You've been waiting 3 weeks to talk about this.
Well, because this is like we had our E3 show, so we didn't talk about it then, and we had a couple of weeks off. And so Rage 2 came out a while ago.
Well, let's not say we didn't have a week off. You had a moose infestation.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And then there was E3, so all of these things put off. It's been 3 weeks, so finally you get to talk about Rage 2.
So Rage 2, I picked up Rage 2. I like these sort of games, open world, complete destruction type, first-person shooter, over-the-top weapons and stuff like that. You've got your... was it like a bladed boomerang thing that you can take some guys out with?
Yep. That's from the first game.
Yeah. So the first game was an open world game, but it brought you into like certain levels, and then you'd have to run through that level. This feels a little bit more open worldy, if that's a word. No, that's probably not a word.
That's a great word.
Worldy. You have all of your little areas on the map that you can open up and take a look and say, hey, I need to go here. There's this area of interest. You can get storage containers and chests and stuff like that to get some special boosted powers, like super jump and, area of effects, spells, not spells, attacks.
Okay.
You're dealing with mutants and guys who will charge at you and stuff like that with a knife when you are holding a shotgun for some reason. The usual silliness of these sort of games. The story itself is actually very, very short.
Oh.
So I've finished the entire game. I've finished all of the map points, and I finished the main story first. I sort of ran through the story. I think it had to have taken me about 3-4 hours maybe to run through the whole story.
Well, the main game wasn't super long either. I remember. Sorry, the first game.
First game.
I remember the first game playing through it, and I loved Rage, the original.
Yeah.
But I remember it ending and being like, "That's it. That's the end."
And that's the same thing that happened in this. Like, okay. That was the bad guy from the beginning of the game who gave his whole mean speech and everything like that before he killed people that you liked. And then you go through and it's like 3 maybe 4 hours in, and like you're okay. I'm fighting him. Okay, and okay, I've killed him. Oh, that's the game.
That's game. And then what? Is there stuff left?
Like any of the areas that you haven't explored yet are still there. You can still go and unlock any of the stuff that you hadn't unlocked yet, like the powers and stuff like that you hadn't found yet.
There's no story left.
There's no story left. No, like there's some story DLC coming. But
weird.
Yeah, once you finish it, it's really just going around and clearing outposts and stuff like that.
Huh. So, do you recommend paying full price for this game?
This is a game I honestly would not recommend a full price on. I had a lot. I had a lot of fun with this, and I did play this a lot. I probably put about 7-8 hours into it, going back through and cleaning up some of the areas, and just it's fun to go through and do that. It's one of those ones that got to the point, like, after I'd finished the story, where I'm like, okay, this is now on, like, volume level 3 while I watch a movie or some TV while I'm going through and just clearing areas.
How do you watch a movie or TV while you're playing a game?
I'm watching TV right now.
You're not.
I know I'm not allowed to do that, but I mean I have a weird ability to focus and watch television and play games at the same time, particularly if it's just this sort of stuff. Like, this is not like it. Once I'm through the storyline and I don't have any flavor left to collect. It's just going through into this area, kill all these bad guys. Go into this area, kill all these bad guys.
Oh my gosh, it's Bodie McBoatface's boatery.
Yeah. Yep.
That's hilarious.
So there's some really fun areas and stuff like that, and it is a really cool, it's an absolutely gorgeous game. This is one of those titles based off of the completion time, and I think will be a sale title.
Or Game Pass?
Or I don't know about Game Pass. I mean, the first one's not on Game Pass, and you'd think that would be on there if they were going to do that. I'm going to say $39.99 by mid-August.
And you were correct about
Anthem.
Yeah. Anthem is now 30. No, 29.
$29.99.
It's 30, and that's what you said it would be by June. You said.
Yeah, I said before. I said by E3.
By E3.
And I think it was. I mean, it happened way sooner than that. Even I think.
Yeah. Okay, we have a new segment we want to try. This was an idea I had, and I'll explain where I got the idea from in just a minute. But I had an idea for, let's take a game and talk about that particular game or franchise and say, would this make a good movie or a good television series, and why? What makes it more suited for movies versus television?
Yeah, where would you adapt this to?
Where would you adapt it to? Because, of course, we're seeing video games being adapted for movies all the time, but rarely do we see a game adapted for television.
Yeah.
And we're going to do my favorite franchise, Assassin's Creed, as our first one. We're calling this Writer's Room. So in the Writer's Room, we're going to talk about Assassin's Creed. And we have the option, we're Warner Brothers or whoever, and we're like, okay, well, should this be a feature-length movie? Let's pretend the other one never happened, because it sucked. And or should this be a TV show?
Well, I mean, let's not pretend the other way, because I mean, I think that's something that we need to consider. If something like that,
right,
whether or not it was handled well in that iteration, and whether or not it can be handled better, which it can.
So my thoughts, and I'll let you think of what your thoughts are. So we decided a while back we're going to do Assassin's Creed. Personally, I would love to see Assassin's Creed told as a television anthology. And I say anthology because what would be cool is to have every season be a different era, a different timeline.
A standalone,
right?
yeah.
So, like they do in the game where you have Ezio and Connor and Altair and all the different assassins. Wouldn't it be great to see a TV show concentrate on a particular assassin for a season? You could even go the other way and show the Templar side of things, like if you're going to do like Rogue, Assassin's Creed Rogue style thing, right?
Yeah.
And the reason I say this is because if you remember a couple weeks ago, I started saying, I told you that my wife and I started watching Nightfall. And that's, of course, tells the downfall of the Knights Templar. And I'm thinking to myself, man, Nightfall, the TV show itself, I feel is like the perfect kind of show to tell an Assassin's Creed story. That kind of realistic, historical style. It's taking place in history, which is where Assassin's Creed stories take place. But wouldn't it be great to see that kind of show along the lines of Nightfall, but tell intriguing, detailed assassin stories?
I think the way the assassin stories are told in the game, I think would really work well for, and I think, and this is one of the reasons, by the way, I would point out that I don't think the movie worked, is they took that all of that stuff and tried to jam it into 2 hours or whatever it was, 2.5 hours or whatever. They tried to jam everything into that, and you don't get all of the lore and everything like that can't be explored properly. It's glossed over, and you ended up with something that was emotionless when you tried to put this into a movie.
When you do it on a TV show, you've got both sides of the equation. You've got the assassin story, you've got the Templar story. It gives you more time to build up the main antagonist who's got the piece of Eden. And
you want to show both sides of that story.
Exactly. And the motivation behind this, whoever it's going to be, whoever's got the piece of Eden, which is typically the Templars when it starts, and the assassins are trying to find it. But it shows their motivation, show what they're doing, and kind of maybe even humanize them a little bit instead of just making them bad guys. Let's humanize the Templars and the assassins and show this conflict.
I would love to see something now, and there's been a lot of TV shows, not assassin shows or anything, but stuff like Spartacus, the TV series Spartacus, where it showed both sides of that conflict and showed the both sides of those characters, your bad guys and your good guys and stuff like that, and you saw from both angles, and I think that sort of style would be really well suited.
Oh yeah,
for this, and I will say this cannot be a network television show. This has to be an HBO
or Netflix or
Netflix, something where you're going to get. They're not going to be hampered by the censors saying, well, you can't show that much gore. That's part of the fun of those those assassination things, those chain assassinations, when you get the really good ones, when you get the perfect parry and block, and it goes through that whole thing where you're taking out a bunch of guys. I would love to see this, not so much as an anthology. I'd like to see something chaining the seasons together, but I do like the idea of each season being a standalone story for one of the assassins that we're so familiar with.
Now, would you include the modern day stuff in the show? Would you show Abstergo Industries using the Animus?
I think that yes, I would, because that's the perfect chain together to keep these
between seasons
and keeping the different assassins together. I think that's the perfect way to chain the series together, so it all feels like it's part of one big world as opposed to
the modern day story is what would like you said, it would keep,
anchor.
It would thank you. It would anchor each of your time periods. Even if each season was a different time period, the modern day story would anchor each of the seasons together.
Exactly.
I think but the modern day doesn't have to be the focus. It's just there.
Yeah. It's like one of those things that you pop back to like once or twice an episode, once or twice every 2 or 3 episodes, where it's like
you start the season, end the season with the modern day stuff, a couple times in between, but other than that, it tells the story. It tells the period piece.
Yes.
Yeah. I would like, seriously. I think Assassin's Creed is the perfect. It's not a movie game. This is a game that needs to be told in a long format.
You need 13, the time to explain.
10 to 13 episode a season. In an anthology style Netflix show. Yeah, I
would love to see something like that. I think it would be really really well received, because I mean stuff like Westworld on HBO is another one, like a very similar type thing where you have this story that you need to see the whole thing in order to understand what's going on.
Right.
Similar type storytelling, I think, would work really well with that, because that's basically what the games are. You're unfolding the story as you play along. Like, hey, like you're hitting these points. It's like, okay, I just found this piece, and that now explains this portion of it. I think that would do really well for a TV show,
because Assassin's Creed is always told there's a main story that always has multiple steps to get through. Yeah. And each episode is kind of be treated as one of those steps to get to the final goal, right? And that's, there's always things to do or things to research or things to investigate, before you end up going up against the final foe.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see the Templars and the Assassins like humanized. Let's see their motivation on both sides of the equation.
Yeah.
Let's not make the Templars out to be the 100 black and white bad guy. And then the Assassins are the black and white good guys. Let's
and
make
it would almost be fun to have them do something along those lines, as you tell your assassin's story one season, and then the following season could almost be like Rogue or something along those lines.
A Templar story, yeah.
Yeah, and just and you have sort of the reactions, and you'll be meeting those characters along both sides, but
yeah,
I think that would be
awesome. That would be really cool. Let's get on that. Ubisoft. All right. Let's do it.
We have found we say things on this show, and
they happen. And it happens.
And so let's and Ubisoft is now getting into movies and TV. Like they took time out of their E3 conference to announce a television show and a movie.
Yes.
So
yes. All right. Good. So that was Writer's Room. We'll come back to that another time, I'm sure.
If you guys have any suggestions for franchises that you'd like to see us discuss as well, please let us know.
We'll talk. We'll tell you what we think would be the best medium for those games.
Yeah.
All right. That leads us right into television and movies. And speaking of anthology shows on Netflix, I started watching last week The Umbrella Academy, which I know has been out 2 months now, 3 months.
A bit longer than that, I think, but yeah.
But I started watching it. It's been on my to watch list for a while now, and my goodness, that's a great show.
It's really well done. It is comic book based.
But it's I have to say that the trailer on Netflix for this does not do a good job telling you what the show is, because it makes it seem really silly. The trailer makes it seem very silly.
Yeah.
And it's not at all. Right?
It is a very serious, dark comic. It is a dark take on...
But I wouldn't even call it dark, per se. Like, it's not like Doom Patrol.
No, right? That's dark comedy. This is, like, actually just dark.
I think Umbrella Academy felt very Batman Begins realistic. You know what I mean? Like down to earth, very much grounded in reality, I would call it. And they ground it in reality so well that you don't even question the fact that there's a talking chimp as a character. Or monkey.
Those,
like
those
you don't
exist.
You don't question it though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's how well it's written. It is absolutely incredible. I love how every character gets their spotlight. You understand every character. You actually care about every character in that family, right?
Yeah, they are all broken characters.
It's so well written.
Yeah. And I can't remember the actor's name. The alcoholic kid.
Klaus?
Klaus. Yeah, him. I absolutely loved him. He was in Misfits.
He's so good. Like all of even the kid though. I don't want to spoil anything, but the youngest, number 5.
Yeah.
What an incredible actor! Like you believe he is who he is.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It is really well acted.
Oh.
But yeah, Klaus was in a show called Misfits, which was a UK superhero show, which if you have not seen is absolutely fantastic, and you should watch that.
I think I remember seeing commercials for
that. It's a UK show, so there's like 6 episodes per season, so like 20 episodes total.
Yeah. One thing I absolutely adore about the Umbrella Academy is even the bad guys you love. Yeah. They are so well written that you can't help but love even the bad guys.
Yeah.
Because they're human. They just have a job to do. And like the character of Hazel.
Yeah.
Holy crap. I could not believe how much I loved that character. And yet he's the bad guy. He's the guy chasing the family.
Yeah. They're the men in black, so to speak.
Oh man,
it is well put together. It is a fun show, and I am glad that they've got their second season coming up.
Yep, which is great. I'm really curious to where it's going in season 2.
Yeah.
And I'm very hopeful that a lot of my favorite characters will still be in season 2. I don't want to give anything away, but and this will be the last thing I say about it. What I really loved is, one, is grounded in reality. I felt like it was real, you know.
Yeah.
Second, a lot of it was filmed in my hometown of Hamilton, which is cool.
Yes, local.
Hamilton and Toronto, it was filmed. And third, I felt like it was a slow build, but a very interesting, engaging slow build. You know?
Yeah.
And that's what every episode wasn't like action going on all the time.
No.
It was a slow build, but every episode was so engaging and so interesting. I just wanted to watch the next episode when it ended.
It was a lot of a little piece of mystery was revealed at the end of every episode. It's like
That's right.
slowly peeling an onion.
You were never left with a mystery for too long.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that about shows, you know, where they give you a mystery, but you find the answer like 1, maybe 2 episodes later. They don't keep you hanging until the end. Right?
Yeah, or maybe if we get another season, you'll hear what this is about.
Right. Well, yes. Oh, man. Anyway, I can't say enough. Umbrella Academy was really pleasantly surprised. Really, really well done.
There's a few more of these sort of superhero esque shows coming out that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. Yeah. And on Netflix, I just wanted to mention this. I'm watching The Good Place again. I love this show. I'm rewatching it from the beginning on Netflix, starting right from now that we've talked about it before. Every season's different, and I love watching season 1 and kind of looking for the little clues, you know. But you know, it's a lot of fun. I'm into season 2 now and looking forward to. Is it season 5 they're doing?
Season 5 coming up, yeah.
Yeah, season 5 is also, I don't know if we've talked about it yet, but season 5 is their last. They're going to end at season 5. Voluntarily, actually. They weren't canceled. The writer just said, season 5, and we're done. We're done. This is our story. We know what we're doing. We want to end it, and this is where we're ending.
And I think that, like they've seen that, with some of the other shows that they've gone with, where they've felt like they've gone too far and too long, where they don't have the ending. They're not telling the ending that they want to tell. They're feeling like it's sort of not necessarily that it's a forced ending that they're forced to end, but they've run out of enough story. I think that they know the story for this, and they want to just finish it on their own terms.
Yeah. Before we move on, just talking about next seasons, I am absolutely thankful that Superstore got renewed, because that cliffhanger ending. Do you watch Superstore?
I do.
And you've seen season finale?
I have.
Were you as in shock as I was with how they ended that?
Yeah, I was expecting there was going to be some sort of a way out at the.
I don't even know where they're going. Okay, I don't know how or if that'll even be resolved in season 5. I don't even know.
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, that character. I mean, we're talking tons of spoilery, mystery stuff without spoiling anything right now.
I don't want to spoil anything, but
not great for people. Yeah, we'll have to talk about it once we pass that statute of limitations.
Once season 5 starts, then I think we can talk about season 4.
That's the statute of limitations. We can cover the finale of that at that point.
But I just wanted to say I'm glad that is coming back, because, of all the season finales, that was the most impactful. And that's, again, we're talking about Superstore, which is just a comedy about essentially
it's a lighthearted comedy, but
Walmart.
But it was a very poignant ending to that, to that thing, was. and so I think it'll be very interesting to see how that's resolved,
and very on point in today's culture.
Yes,
or I should say not culture, but landscape.
Yes,
political landscape. All right, your turn. You saw something I understand is like movie of the year.
So I went to see a movie in theaters.
Are you happy about this?
I'm glad. Listen, I'm glad because it gives us content to talk about. So yes, I basically pushed a button, the equivalent of pushing buttons to go see a movie. I went to the theater for opening night to see Dark Phoenix.
I'm sorry.
The last of the Fox X-Men movies before they burn them all the copies and start from scratch.
I'm sorry.
So
do you want those 2 hours back?
I mean, I don't know. This is the movie was not well done. This is my opinion. I'm sure some people absolutely loved it.
Oh no, this is like everybody's opinion. Apparently, I have not seen it, mind you, but everything I read about it,
I would say Suicide Squad beats this, in my opinion.
No.
If that's
Are you
an
serious?
indication of the level of frustration I felt, and I don't know if it's because it should have been done so much better, or because it was actually that bad. But I did not enjoy it. This follows, obviously, Jean Grey turning into the Phoenix, and it's just a lot of stuff that felt really rushed, really awkward, really weird. This is an X-Men movie that does not feel like it's about the X-Men at all.
That's what I read. I read that like the X-Men themselves, I was like, why are they even there?
The point of the X-Men is, there's a conflict, they run at it headlong, they fail, they come together as a team up and figure out a way to do it. And this was not that at all. The X-Men were extras almost in this movie.
Oh man.
Wow. And just like some of the cool stuff, and I'm not sure if it was budgetary or what the reason. Like one of the coolest characters in the last X-Men movie was Quicksilver.
Yes, with all the slow motion stuff, for sure.
With the slow motion stuff where he when the mansion was exploding, he's pulling everybody out. He twists his ankle like in like one of the first scenes, and then he's rehabbing for the rest of the movie.
Come on.
Like it's not actually that bad, like where he twists his ankle, but whatever. He's hurt at the beginning, and then he's out for like the major battles and all of that stuff at the very, all of the parts of the movie, and then he shows back up at the very end of the movie after everything resolved, but like this is one of the cool characters with one of the coolest powers that you can show on screen.
Yeah. Wow.
And no.
Wow. No, I also read that there's a whole bunch of characters just shown for the sake of putting them in there.
Yeah, like there's stuff. Again, I don't know how spoilery we want to get with this, but like Mystique's character in there was basically felt like like Jennifer Lawrence was just phoning it in. Ugh. She really did feel like just phoning it in. I
think they all knew this was it. This was the last movie, and they're not doing any more. Period.
Yeah. I think so. Like they obviously it's all of the X-Men are young X-Men. So it's a lot of actors that you're not familiar with, that you're not really like. It's a lot of, I don't want to say no name actors, but it's a lot of actors that you're not really familiar with. The screen time for the X-Men was very little. Beast was prominently featured, but I two things with Beast. Number one, there was a lot of him in not Beast form, which is fine.
Okay.
And when he was in Beast form, like he's still supposed to be smart, but he almost turned because there's a whole, rage thing that ends up happening with him anyways. But it's like he's a moron all of a sudden.
He becomes the Hulk.
I also hate the Beast makeup in these movies. Including
Kelsey Grammer's Beast?
I think that they all look ridiculous because it all looks like a dog in a suit.
Yeah, true.
Because they put him in a suit so they don't have to do full body fur and everything like that. So they always put him in a suit or something like that, and it just looks
like a gorilla suit.
It looks like it looks like a guy in a tux or whatever wearing a gorilla suit, and it just looks. It does not look right to me. I don't know.
Fair enough. So you highly recommend the movie then?
Oh yeah, go see it. Absolutely. The Marvel will gladly accept your money at this point. Listen, the only good thing I can say about how bad this was.
The only good thing you can say about how bad it was,
is that Marvel is now going to want to cleanse our palates of this, will hopefully bring us our beloved X-Men back in an MCU movie.
Yeah.
Sometime soon.
And you know who would apparently would love to play Wolverine?
Keanu Reeves.
Jason Momoa. He'd actually make a pretty good Wolverine.
Would. Well, I know Marvel has been asking Keanu Reeves every movie they do. They say, "Do you want a piece of this?"
Yeah, but I think they'll bring. In my opinion, I think they're looking at Keanu to play a villain, not an actual hero.
Yeah.
Like I think Keanu will be a one and done movie. He'll be the villain of a movie. I don't think he's going to. Sorry?
Who would you cast him as?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know enough of the Marvel villains. I can't really say.
Well, even Marvel characters in general. Like,
see, and I was thinking about that. I don't know. I don't know who he could be.
I know Taskmaster is one that they're talking about maybe bringing into some of the movies. I think he might make a good Taskmaster.
And is that a villain or a hero?
He's a villain.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not actually familiar with that villain.
Oh. Well,
who is he a villain of?
I believe he's Avengers.
Oh, so he'd be in one of the.
But I believe he's. Yeah, I think he's an Avengers villain, but I believe he's also fought the X-Men and.
Okay. Well, let's keep on DC for a second. Now that we've finished, let's finish with Marvel. Let's move on to DC. Now, Titans. We both spoke about Titans on the DC universe, which basically started the DC universe.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Titans for what it was. I don't think it was fantastic, but I enjoyed it. Season 2, they're going ahead with Season 2, which is really weird considering they've canceled a bunch of other stuff.
Well, they I believe ran out of some money, so they're basically putting all of their eggs into a basket. I mean, Swamp Thing I think is so far has been fantastic.
Yeah.
Got canceled. Doom Patrol I did not care for. That's getting a Season 2.
Right? Like, I don't know. Anyways, Titans Season 2 looks like it's going to be huge. They've announced so many new characters. They're bringing in Mercy Graves, who is a villain, works for Lex Luthor. They're bringing in Connor Kent, who is Superboy. They're going to bring in Aqualad. They're bringing in Bruce Wayne, and Bruce Wayne is going to be played by Ian Glenn from Game of Thrones. Yep. One of my favorite actors from Game of Thrones. Slade Wilson as Deathstroke is going to be in it. Rose Wilson, who is Ravager, Slade Wilson's daughter, who is actually a hero. And Joseph Wilson, and I cannot remember what his hero persona is, but he is also a hero. So Slade Wilson is a pretty bad father, considering both of his children become Titans.
Well, is it that bad though? I mean, he's he was a good guy for a little bit.
Who, Deathstroke?
Yeah, in the Arrowverse.
In Arrow, he was, sure. But okay, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 new characters already. 7 new characters announced for Titans Season 2.
And we really didn't get a ton of information on Beast Boy.
No.
Raven, really, like a little bits here and there. Like, we didn't get full.
Oh, and they brought in what's her name? Wonder Girl, Donna Troy. They brought in Donna Troy. Now here's my problem. As much as I liked Titans, and I will watch Season 2, my problem with Titans is it's not. They haven't really made it about the Titans themselves, and actually, my problem with a lot of superhero shows these days, and this includes things like Legends of Tomorrow. It is a superhero show that never actually shows them using their powers.
Yeah.
And that is why people tune in. When you tune into a superhero show or a movie, it's not just about the characters. It's about, I want to see cool superhero action.
Yeah. You want to see Aquaman swimming underwater and talking to fish.
I want to see powers. I want to see special effects. And it's like, have they forgotten? That's what superheroes are all about, is using powers. Yeah, it's not about Quicksilver, breaking his ankle and having to be off and not use his powers.
We want to see him running.
Right?
Gotham, I think, did that well with the villains and stuff like that. You got to see them
doing what they do.
Yeah, like using their. I mean, fortunately, their powers are not like hugely effects.
Yeah, Flash is great that way.
Yeah.
Whenever they introduce a new villain, they're using powers or there's always some. Of course, the Flash himself. There's never been an episode where the Flash doesn't run.
Yeah. Supergirl too. She uses her super breath and her
like flying, whatever. All her. Yeah. Exactly. And yet I noticed, like, lately in the last several seasons of Legends, Adam never used the Atom Never
Yeah,
uses his suit anymore. Never. What's his name? Mick never uses his heat gun. Right? Heat wave never uses his fire gun anymore. You know, like
the metal guy doesn't turn metal.
Steel. He doesn't turn metal anymore. Like what?
Yeah.
What? And Mara doesn't use her wind powers.
Yeah.
Like then how is this a superhero show then? You know, they're just solving the week to week mysteries.
Well, and there's barely even any choreographed fighting in these things anymore.
Not anymore. Exactly. I don't know. I need superhero shows to go back to what they should be, is actually superhero shows. Show me the powers. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm hoping some of these new ones do that, because there's some fun looking stuff coming.
Yeah. So we're at an hour, but there's one thing I want to talk about, and the reason I saved this to the end is because if you have not watched Avengers Endgame, you may want to just stop here, because we're going to talk about something, and it will require spoilers in order to talk about it. We're not talking about the movie itself. It's just something I want to...
We may mention some of the movie bits
anyway,
during it.
If you have not seen Endgame, feel free to end the show now. We're going to end with this little discussion. I'll give you a second to do that.
Countdown.
Okay, let's go.
That's enough.
I had a question, Tico. So in Avengers, there is a 5-year time jump. Okay?
Yes.
And really, after the time jump, that's when the whole plan comes into being. And I'm thinking to myself today, so now all of the movies going forward, like Spider-Man Far From Home, take place in 2023. It is no longer current year to us, which has always been the case. Okay.
Yeah, it's now what, an AE after Endgame.
That's right. It's after Endgame. I was thinking, what a bit of a missed opportunity. Can you imagine if Endgame, the movie, actually happened in 2023?
And when you say happened, released
in 2020. So we did not get Endgame now in 2019. We actually had to wait until 2023 for this next Avengers movie, right?
Yeah.
And the ending of Infinity War with the snap was it. And we're left thinking those heroes are actually gone. Imagine if Marvel actually went ahead over the next 5 years with the belief that those heroes are actually gone. No Spider-Man. No, like maybe they would have changed. Maybe Spider-Man wasn't gone. Maybe Black Panther wasn't gone. I don't know. But imagine if they had moved on. We could see a Ronin movie. We could see what's going on with Ronin.
I would have loved to have seen Clint turning, like, you know, after his daughter disappears, to pick up right at that spot, have him go absolutely nuts. Hunting down and full Ronin and have that story. Him and like Ronin in Japan as a movie would have been brilliant.
Fantastic, right? And that could have happened in that time frame, right? You could
take some opportunities to introduce heroes that we may not see, like a Squirrel Girl movie or TV series or something, like, you know, something like some of those, you know, obscure characters. Bring a few of those in there that survive the snap and how they're dealing with picking up the slack for the missing.
Right, allowing us to see heroes who are stepping up to take over where, you know, in this new absence of heroes, and seeing the state of the world. Imagine if that was literally the state of the MCU for 5 years. Imagine now, having said that, we don't have to talk about the details of what goes on, but imagine if they actually said for the next 5 years, we're moving on. These heroes are gone. We're moving. Here's some new characters. Let's see what's Captain Marvel up to. What are they? Have another Avengers movie that deals with the original 5 Avengers, right? In what they're dealing with. You know, Tony's getting married. You know, Thor's gone off. Getting
fat.
Yeah, right. Show that stuff. You know, show the downward spiral, I guess, of the universe. And then in 2023, you come out with Endgame or whatever it would be called. Imagine how much impact the return of those characters would have had on us as the audience, who have lost our heroes for 5 years and now they're back.
Yeah.
Imagine the impact that would have had.
Like, not just because right now what we had the end of Infinity War, and we knew Endgame was coming, and these guys are not all going to be dead, and they're going to somehow snap back, and there's going to be some.
They had already announced Black Panther 2, Doctor Strange 2, Spider-Man Far From Home. They had already announced, so obviously they're coming back. Imagine if they were never announced, and Infinity War ended where it ended, and the MCU moved on for 5 years.
Yeah, and you were left with the belief that this was it.
This was it.
These characters are gone. We're moving on without these characters now.
Imagine that.
Well, it's the same feeling, again, spoiler for people who are listening who didn't pay attention to the spoiler thing, but this is the same sort of feeling that people who have seen Endgame now, who are now missing Black Widow and Iron Man.
Of course. Exactly.
Right? That feeling. These guys, and, like having something
and
along
Captain
those
America.
lines. Well, he's still around. He's just old.
Well, yeah, but still. Anyway, that was just something I thought of today. I'm like, wow, like I feel like that was a bit of a missed opportunity.
Now I know the reason why they've done it this way and not waiting 5 years.
Well, they had to.
They had to because they need to get because these characters are these actors are aging. So
Spider-Man, for example. That's why I'm saying maybe Spider-Man didn't get snapped.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you make some different choices, but even so, like if you want to use these characters. Again, moving forward, I suppose Hulk. It's just all CG. I mean, that doesn't matter how old Ruffalo gets at this point.
Well, I mean, in 5 years, anyway. And it's also actors' contracts were ending. I get it, but all I'm saying is hypothetically, the impact Endgame would have had 5 years from now instead of today, it would have been a much huger impact. Huge impact. Anyway, that is it. For episode number 331, you can follow me everywhere. I am Ziantane, and that is Xiantayne.
I'm going to read the purple stuff.
Yeah, you should do that.
All right. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Second Place. Like, subscribe, and comment. Check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/OMG Nexus. And follow the show on Twitter at the OMG Hour.
Give us a like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will not be here next week. I will be off on my 25th anniversary vacation. We will return on July 5th. Take care, everybody.
Bye, guys.
This has been an OMGNexus.com production.